Hello, and I'd like to welcome you all once again to the old schoolhouse here in the village of Butterstone in Perthshire in Scotland for another one of our wee live concerts. And this is number 43 since the beginning of the lockdown, which is pretty amazing actually. And just for those of you who just joined, we're actually in the old village school, which is my studio now, but this is the village, the one-room village school that I went to. I had my first classes here, and my father used to go to school here in the 1930s. And then I managed to buy it 30 odd years ago and turn it into a studio and stuff like that. So I was very lucky, and it's a wee village, about 10 houses. It's the beginning of the Highlands. And and the tatty faces are here. They've been a great help this week, believe it or not. They're actually managing to pay for their kind of bed and board. Duncan's been out there painting gates and things, and Mr. Tatty Face is looking after the tatties. The Tatty Face Junior's been out playing with my new hens, which have become kind of like egg-laying machines, which is brilliant. And Amber here has offered to cut my hair, because I haven't had a hair, been getting near a barber for the last 4 months. But looking at our own hair, I'm not that convinced that she's the right person to do the job. No disrespect, Amber, but maybe I'm going to start off. For the first 30 shows, I didn't repeat myself. I did like 120 of songs that I'd written over the last 40 odd years. Now I'm doing kind of requests that come in through Facebook, and I put them in Duncan's hat and we pull them out. So here's the four songs that we've decided to do. And this is an old song of mine, which I wrote for my great uncle Fergus, who was a crofter fisherman on the island of Mull, where my family come from. It's a song about the sea. Oh, the waves crashing and the tide pulls out. It's an angry sea, but there is no doubt that the lighthouse will keep shining out to warn the lonely sailor. And the lightning strikes and the wind cuts cold through the sailor's bones to the sailor's soul, till there's nothing left that he can hold except a rolling ocean. Oh, but I am ready for the storm. Yes, sir, ready. I am ready for the storm. I'm ready for the storm. And oh, give me mercy for my dreams, 'cause every confrontation seems to tell me what it really means to be this lonely sailor. But when you take me by your side, you love me warm, you love me, and I should have realized I had no reasons to be frightened. Oh, but I am ready for the storm. Yes, sir, ready. I am ready for the storm. I'm ready for the storm. Oh, and distance, it is no real friend, and time will take its time, but you will find that in the end it brings you me, the lonely sailor, And when the sky begins to clear, the sun it melts away my fear. I'll cry a silent, weary tear for those that need to love me. Oh, but I am ready for the storm. Yes, sir, ready. I am ready for the storm. Yes, sir, ready. I am ready for the storm. I'm ready for the storm. Thank you very much. That's my song, Ready for the Storm, an old song of mine. And I'm going to continue with this wee song. My grandfather came from, well, he was a native Gaelic speaker. And it was quite interesting when we were kids. You know, we used to use there was quite a lot of Gaelic words used around the family. But we never, as kids, we never knew what they meant. We just saw them as funny words. But it was quite good because we didn't call my grandfather grandfather. We called him Shenner, which is Gaelic for grandfather. And it was quite. We thought it was great to have a Shenner, not have a grandfather. And we went at school. And anyway, I ended up spending a lot of time on the west coast of the island of Lewis, which was where I wrote this song, and because that was one of the last kind of Gaelic-speaking communities up there on the west coast of Lewis, and I wanted to kind of get a wee bit of an experience of what it was all really about, and so I wrote the song when I was up there, and because it helped me a lot to kind of understand my background and my past, and why I was the way I was, and why the music I made was the music I made, because my grandfather used to sing Gaelic songs, and my earliest memories are of him coming up from Dunkeld with a few drums inside him and sitting in the kitchen, because he stayed with us when we were kids. Watching him, he had a few drums, and then he would sit and sing these beautiful Gaelic songs, and the tears would run down his face, and we'd be always saying, what? To my mum and dad were saying, why is Shenner crying? And they would say, oh, it's because he's happy. Don't worry. And I was just thinking of this today. He had this great wee song he used to sing if he'd been away to the town and he'd come back with sweeties or something for you. He'd have this funny wee song, and I remember it really well, the little bit of it, but only phonetically, and it went something like "Hosh de skilling kingen hindri hombo da 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 da," and we never knew what it meant. And I was actually talking to some native Gaelic speakers about it, and I said, "Have you ever heard this wee song?" I said, "My grandfather used to sing it to us when he brought sweeties home, or when he had a special gifts for us, And I sang it to them, and they said, "Oh, yes, we know that." He says it means, translated into English, it means the little people have brought us some silver. And I thought that was a lovely thing. What a lovely song to sing to your grandkids when you've given them a sweetie. The little people have brought us some silver. Anyway, so this is the song, and we'll try it now and see how we get on. I have that many songs that sometimes it's difficult to remember them all, and it can go pear-shaped at any time, and I can have senior moments at any time, so just bear with me. Have been strengthened, mere distant sun. You fill my sails with winds to move me on, and on the swell of the great Atlantic Sea I find forgotten now I can be free it wildly comes to me, unfolding endlessly. I have been opened, me the restless one. You give me paths of rock to walk upon, and in the shelter of the drainage sand, you give me gentle shore on which to land. And now I can be free within these winds of change. It wildly comes to me, unfolding endlessly. When island signs meet with others from the shore, we sail through channels deep like those who've gone before. And in the shelter of the Hebridean night, we turn our head round, sailing out of sight. And now I can be free within these winds of change. It wildly comes to me, unfolding endlessly. Now I can be free within these winds of change. It wildly comes to me, unfolding endlessly. Thank you very, very much. And that's my wee song, Distant Sun, from wee song I wrote up on that end of Lewis, on the west coast of that end of Lewis. And I'm just going to have a wee mouthful of my 1985 port here. I've got a wee tickle in my throat. I'm going to do this wee song, which is the part of the wee show where I get you all to join in. And we've done this before a couple of times, maybe once, maybe a couple of months ago. So those of you who are regular kind of watchers of these wee concerts will have had a wee bit of time to practice this chorus. So and for guitar players who are watching, I was asked by there was quite a few requests to explain a wee bit of what I do with my guitar. So that song, this guitar was in C minor tuning for Ready for the Storm, which was, and I just tuned that string up to make it into C major for this song. And it's in the same 3, 4, 5. And, yeah, so this is my version of the kind of night visiting song, and the chorus is easy. I've done this with you a lot. So you sing, will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? Will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? And that is all a wee bit of a metaphor for stuff. And so we'll try the chorus a couple of times before and the Tatty Faces are going to do 4-part harmony. In fact, Duncan was suggesting that they did 5-part harmony. And I was saying, how could you do that, Duncan? And he says, well, you know, as Tatty Faces, we can sing in 2 keys at the same time because it's the way they're built. So I don't know how that works, but we'll see what happens with the 5-part harmony. Okay, Duncan, here we go. This is what you sing. Will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? That's what you sing. Try it. Turn your laptops up louder and your iPhones on your... Okay, now. Will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? We'll do it one more time. I think you'll have it nailed by then. Here we go. All right, guys. Will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? When I may lose my way back home, lose the signs that I've been shown, wander helpless through the storm, all alone. Will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? When I may lose the sense to run, finish what I've not begun, fading with the winter sun, everything undone. Will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? When I may lose the sense to dream, for nothing is the way it seems, and all the places I've been forever unseen. Will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? This is where you sing it on your own. Is everybody ready? You ready, Tatty Faces, with your 5-part harmony? Here we go. Will you hear? Fantastic harmonies. So fantastic that we'll do it again and we'll get it a wee bit louder. But I'm getting the vibe here in the old schoolhouse. Are you getting the vibe done with the Tatty Face? Yeah, we're all feeling it here. So do it once again. Will you hear? you give Jenny a microphone, she's up the back singing, have a harmony up the back there. Nothing ever comes to fear, out of sight, but always near, waiting for the sky to clear. I will disappear. Will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? One last time, will you hear me if I'm calling on this wild and windy night? Will you catch me if I'm falling on this wild and windy night? On this wild and windy night. Thank you very much, and well done, well done. It's a nice wee chorus to sing that. Actually, I like the simple little choruses like that. They're great when they come along if you're a songwriter and you can come up with these wee things. They're great. They're great fun once they're sort of completed. But it's getting close to the end. I'm going to do one more song, and this wee song. Well, this guitar down. This song came from. Let's grab this other guitar because this guitar's now in normal tuning, and. And this song came from, I was reading something about a village in South America somewhere where, the older you got, the further up there was the village and then the cliffs, and there was caves in the cliff. And the older you got, the further you got a house further up the bank up towards the cliff. And then eventually when you died, you got a place in one of the caves in the cliff. So you were always part of the village, even when you. So it's, and I loved that kind of whole idea. And these caves were very important to the people that lived there. Anyway, it got me thinking a lot about the kind of terrible things that have happened to lots of these special places that native people have, like the Aborigines. They would drive motorways through the ancient Aboriginal burial grounds, and this was the same sort of stuff in America with the Native American Indians, and then it got me thinking about the Stone of Destiny. I'll tell you a quick story about this. The Stone of Destiny, which is for people who don't know what it was. The Stone of Destiny was it lived about 8 miles from here at Scone Palace, where all the ancient Scottish kings were crowned, and it was a big round stone. I believe it was a meteorite or something, and it was all the kings were crowned sitting on top of this. And then in I think it was 12. I wrote the date down somewhere. 1296. I think it was the War of Independence and Scottish Independence. King Edward I of England, who was known as the Hammer of the Scots, he had beaten them, and he decided to take the Stone of Destiny back down to London, because he thought if he took the Stone of Destiny away, then the Scots would give up, and that would be the end of it. And so he took the stone back down to London and built a special coronation chair where he put the stone under it. Anyway, but the real problem was he didn't get the Stone of Destiny, because the boys in Scone knew that he was coming. They knew they weren't going to leave the Stone of Destiny out for King Edward and all his army to come and take the stone away. So they took the stone away and hid it. And they took this old sandstone. It was actually the lid of the Scone Palace septic tank. It had 2 big rings on it, and they put that on a kind of a big table and put some velvet cut, put some candles around it, And so when King Edward I came in with his army, they went, "Oh, there's the Stone of Destiny." They shuttled it all off down to London, the Scone Palace septic tank lid. Meanwhile, the real stone was hidden somewhere around here, actually. And it's a great story. And And the stone's never been found, but I keep kind of looking for it anytime I'm out. I'm kind of hoping that one day will come upon the real thing. Then in the 1950s, a whole bunch of students went into Westminster Abbey where it was hidden and stole it, and it took it back up to Scotland as a kind of symbolic sort of statement, which was another brilliant thing. And then, when was it? In the mid-1990s, I think it was, there was such a kind of rise of Scottish independence that the Prime Minister at the time, it was John Major, I think, had decided to give the stone back, thinking that would shut the Scots up. But it hasn't shut the Scots up. It's now in Edinburgh. Well, the lid of the Scone Palace septic tank is in Edinburgh. And the real one's maybe in the wood just outside the old schoolhouse here. But anyway, sorry for the long story, but it's... So I'll do this song now, and it's called Belongs to Us. I'm sorry, I've got a wee tickle tonight in my throat. Stands within a time of dreams, engraved in stone on which it seems 10,000 naked hands have drawn an endless line, where man and death were more than one, with fire, water, moon and sun. We touch it and we're centered in place and time. You try and tear it all away, oh, but turning heads don't hear what heavy hearts must say. It belongs to us, it belongs to us. It's our sacred rock you hold, and it's our destiny that you have thrown away. It's our sacred rock you hold. These canyons where our ancient sleep rise above our heads and keep connection with the winds on which our seeds have blown. And it's there we lay and rest our dead. It's there the last goodbyes are said. We see it and we know that we will all be one. Try and tear it all away, oh, but turning heads don't hear what heavy hearts must say. It belongs to us, it belongs to us. It's our sacred rock you hold, and it's our destiny that you have thrown away. It's our sacred rock you hold. You may think it's worthless, you may think it's small, and for that we have no need. But reality is greater, and it strengthens as we pass it on. Our children growing graceful, strong, we feel it and we're certain that our way is clear, and it belongs to us, it belongs to us. It's our sacred rock you hold, and it's our destiny that you have thrown away. It's our sacred rock you hold. You can sing it with me if you want. It belongs to us, it belongs to us. It's our sacred rock you hold, and it's our destiny that you have thrown away. It's our sacred rock you hold. Thank you very much, and that's my song, It Belongs to Us, and that brings us to the end of another one of our wee live concerts, number 43, and I think that's been pretty good going so far, and this is the point of the evening where it has been brilliant, the number of people that I've watched and kind of logged in from all kinds of different parts of the world, some places that I don't even know, and it's fantastic. And so if you're living somewhere, it doesn't have to be exotic. If wherever you're living, leave a wee message on our Facebook page, because it's great. And there's a wee community kind of grown up now that who've kind of all kind of gathered around from the whole planet. Which is, around these wee shows, which is great. I'm really enjoying the fact that it's going to bring in a whole bunch of wee people together for just, if it's only for a half an hour on a Saturday night, it's very special, that we can get together in this way at all, particularly in these very troubled, scary times. So anyway, I'll leave you now. One big thank you to all the helpers, all the NHS people, all the carers, all the people who are out there at the front line of having to deal with this madness. You all take care of yourselves and stay cheery. That's one of now's the period where it's quite difficult. I think it's probably sometimes even harder than the complete lockdown. That we've all got to kind of keep cheery. And so I'll leave you with that wee thought. Thank you very much to Mr. Tatty Face and his family for providing the music and the backing and the 5-part harmony, and to Jimmy and Julie and Taj and Tanya and Lewis and Callum, who are somewhere out there kind of monitoring what we're doing. It's just me and Jenny in the old school here. We've been doing just the two of us. We luckily, my son's quite clever, and he set us up with a kind of automated camera system which helps us to kind of keep it a wee bit more interesting. And so there's just me and Jen. So a big thanks to Jen too for pushing the buttons. And I'm thinking of actually, because I'm not going to have any concerts for probably the next year or so. It looks like that, I'm thinking of making maybe a special concert every month, which I'll charge a wee ticket for. And that'll help. Just that kind of, it helps to kind of keep some kind of income coming into the MacLean household. And but I'll let you all know about that. But I'll still be doing the free ones. But the specials, they're going to be specials. I'm going to keep. I'm going to do kind of all kinds of stuff on these 1-hour shows. So I'll let you know when that's happening. And but anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the last half hour. You take care. Aichava, and I'll see you further on. And bye bye.